Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Critical Mass Radio is a completely non-profit station where the hosts pay to broadcast their shows. The mission of the station is to get as much information as possible out to people about the world we live in, to unite like-minded people, and to try to come up with workable solutions. If you agree with the work that we are doing, then please feel free to help us continue by making a donation on the webpage. CMR is for people who want answers, because now it is our turn.
Boys and girls, I am Miquel Llobera, also known as Fettle Feign, and indeed I have yet to attain omnipresent super intergalactic oneness, but I'm almost there, folks. I'm almost there. So I know I'm coming through loud and clear with the media, with the music. Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear with my voice as well, and you can hear what I'm saying. Got a nice show for you tonight. I've been at it again. Mixing and chopping, with blending some music with some wise words of some very wise and beautiful people. Haven't got all of them today. I'll tell you what it is. There is a program which you can watch for free, documentary / film. Well, it's not really film, it's just documentary. Called channeling spirit channelers in America. Tuning in, that's it. Tuning in spirit channelers in America. So if you go onto YouTube and type tuning in spirit channels in America, you can watch the whole thing of what I've sampled from for the clips this evening in one go. It's a very beautiful program and it's extremely feel good. I mean, you can't watch it and fail to be moved, impressed upon, and really it gives you a deep connection with something that you almost sense you always had, but it just took a little reminding. So do feel free to go along to YouTube. By all means, please do. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. Or you can simply listen to the clips I'm playing tonight. I will be playing more clips with more blends next week. I didn't want to do it all in one show. Spread it out a little bit. Amongst other tunes, my usual folkish ilk. And so hopefully you'll enjoy the show this evening. All and sundry, and I hope you're all enjoying playing the game, and I hope that when you do leave, you'll leave this world as clean as when you came. Indeed. That song actually goes on for considerably a lot longer. It goes on for 13 minutes. We list 4 minutes, but I'm cutting it short there, as much as I'm loath to do so. Any Roy Harper fans out there? Indeed, that was Roy Harper, Phil. I know it's sacrilege to cut a Roy song short, but he does make epic ballads, and there's things I want to play for you tonight, and I just want to make sure that I have enough time. If we have enough time at the end of the show, I will play the rest of that tune. It is actually that tune's called The Game, parts 1 through to 5. So it is actually 5 tunes rolled into one. That's from the BBC tapes, Roy Harper's famous BBC tapes. Really, really good selection of tunes. Recommend anybody to listen to it. Yeah, so how are we, people? How are we? Just before I carry on, I'd like to make the disclaimer that anything that's said or heard on this show is purely the point of view and opinions expressed by me as a sole, unique, divine being, and is not necessarily the views or opinions expressed or felt by any of the other hosts or Critical Mass Radio as a whole. So if you are offended by anything I say or do, not that you can be offended by anything I do, because although my camera's working, you can't see me. You can't see what I'm doing right now. Nah, I'm only kidding. But if you are overtly offended, then sod off. Because as our very own Alex would say, we have a right to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of opinion. And if you don't like it, don't listen to it. I'm sure you can find a juggler somewhere to entertain you. Right, so yes, if you'd like to contact me on the show, please by all means call in by pressing the Skype link button. Alternatively, you can contact me directly only through text, though, while I'm doing the show, through Skype. My account name is Fettle Feign, all one word, lowercase letters. Only through text, I'm afraid. Can I talk to you on that? Otherwise, I'll cut off the connection. You can contact me at my email, which is peaceofmind@criticalmassradio.co.uk. Don't seem to be getting many emails through there recently, but I do check on it occasionally, so don't worry. If you do send an email, I will come across it. Philip Makes Movies has provided a link. If you're having problems listening, click on that link to Blog Talk Radio. Press the live button, or on-air button, I should say. Also, if you're having trouble listening through there will be a small link at the bottom left, just underneath that box, that says play an alternative player or play through alternative media. If you click on that, if you've got on a Windows operating system as opposed to Linux, it will give you the option to play the show through Windows Media Player. I have had these problems, and Windows Media Player, it always works. So that's your last line of defense, so to speak. So your last plan of attack. It should work. So how have we been, ladies and gentlemen? I'm afraid my good wife and sometime co-host is up in Lancaster with the little one, staying with her mother for a few days, getting away from city life, get some fresh air. It's been hard on her this last month, so she needs some time to gather her thoughts, gather her energy, being a familiar surround with friends and family, and so we can plod forward into uncertain future with certain hope and determination, methinks. I haven't been listening, I haven't been keeping up with any news really recently. People have been telling me that things have been kicking off in Spain, things have been kicking off in Greece, things apparently have been kicking off in Poland as well. Apparently there's another place where it's been kicking off. To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if anytime somebody tells me something's kicking off somewhere, it doesn't surprise me. And to be honest, I've stopped watching the news now, because I know it's all shit out there. I know it's all falling apart. The last thing it needs is my contribution to it, to that energy, by dwelling on it and going, oh, isn't that bad? And it's not that bad really anyway. It's a good sign. It's healthy. It's a good sign. It shows that current paradigm is breaking down. The paradigm shift is in progress. The descension sequence has begun. We are going to reconnect with Mother Earth. We're going to ground ourselves down. We're going to compress all our 12 chakras into our body, so we have them in our body instead of the usual 7, so we can connect to the pure divine that we have to currently rise up to meet. We're going to be connected with it all the time. And just like birth, there's a lot of screaming, a bit of blood, a lot of pain. It's all worth it in the end. It's all worth it in the end. And let's face it, you know, you wouldn't be here listening to this show, you wouldn't be here at Critical Mass Radio, or Blog Talk Radio, or Pal Talk, or whichever medium you're listening to this particular show through at this moment in time, or whether you're listening to it on podcast at some future date. You wouldn't be listening to it unless you were part of that paradigm shift. Unless you were a wayseer, somebody who was in the vanguard, pushing forward. And this is to you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That was a series of clips from a film I downloaded and watched recently called Iron Sky. I highly recommend everybody download and watch this film. You can get a Blu-ray copy very easily. It is amazing. It is hilarious. It is poignant. It is very, very poignant. And that speech itself, essentially, it's about it's almost every lunar conspiracy and Nazi conspiracy you can imagine rolled into one. Very seamlessly, very cleverly done. If you look carefully, you can pretty much spot references to almost every single conspiracy theory to do with the Nazis, the moon, all rolled into one. It's a really, really, really good film. And a really impressive thing about it as well was that the visual effects are stunning. It's a really well put together film. There was only one actor in it I recognised, and none of the other actors I recognised, and I was quite surprised. Because it had a Hollywood film quality to it. You know, it had that crisp and clean, polished look to it. But it turns out that it's actually a conglomeration of a lot of internet, not company, or internet media companies and enterprises, and it was heavily funded by its fan base. It gives a list of all the people who donated contributed money to help put it together, and it's an extensively long list. So it's a film of Hollywood quality, length, brilliant, good acting, actually good acting. It's funny, it's poignant, meaningful, has a lot of conspiracy references, and it's put together by the people, for the people. Really, really worth checking out. Really, really, really good film. So please do check that out. Right, I'm going to stop bubbling now for a moment because I'm losing anonymouses. I'm losing anonymouses. Who is that I'm losing? I don't know, because they're anonymous. Anyway, Philip, as usual, providing a link there to, I presume, is a trailer. Watch it, peruse it at your leisure. I'm going to play in a second these mixes I've been making, but before I do that, I'm just going to play a tune. This one goes out to Ronnie Reagan. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play now. I'm going to begin playing the remixes I've been making from the clips from TuneIn Spirit Channels in America. The first one is entitled Law of Attraction. I'm not sure how many people listening are aware of or have come across this notion of law of attraction. I know it was one of the first, amongst some of the first esoteric teachings I came across. And it does work, but it's a precarious thing. When I first started using it, I, like many other people, completely misunderstood, was completely missold the idea of law of attraction and exactly what it is and what it means, and how exactly to apply it efficiently and effectively within your day-to-day life. And it's strange because when it goes wrong bad. But the main concern, the main sort of mistake people make is staying within the mind, within the thinking, because law of attraction is an energetical thing. It's based within energy. It's not a thing of the mind. The mind plays its role. Good evening, Bev. Nice to see you. To see you. No. It plays its role, but only a small role. In the larger picture, you have to take into consideration the energetical effect and impact, what it is you're doing. So without further ado, law of attraction. And the master allows energy to serve them. Strange, it's been years, it's been a while since I've watched Tuning In Spirit Channels in America. And as so often happens in my life, I've come to a moment where I realise that I've become lax and lazy and forgetful of lessons I've learned, lessons that I've acquired through hard personal experience. And then I come to realise that I've almost set myself back to square one again. And it's strange, it is the human condition, I suppose. But then again, saying it's the human condition makes it so. It's the conundrum. It's almost as simplistic as it is complex, the law of attraction. I really liked the metaphor of standing on the roof with the boomerang of desire, and you send it out, and after a while it doesn't come back, and you begin to think, well, I don't deserve it, I'm not going to get it, or what's happening? And in doing so, you drop yourself down on an energetical level, and in doing so, you take yourself down a couple of floors. By the time the boomerang of your desire comes back, of course, you're not there to receive it anymore. And so you just, you never get it, and that reinforces that this idea, this notion that your mind has come up with, that you don't deserve it, that you were never going to get it to begin with, and further down the floors you go. And it's a very easy trap to fall into. It's a very easy scenario to find yourself wrapped up in. I find myself sitting here thinking that, well, it's strange because I certainly didn't think I'd be here a year ago. I didn't know where I was expected to be. I don't really expect to be anywhere anymore. I don't really have expectations anymore. I sort of hold on for the ride and just enjoy the ride nowadays. Funny enough, before I started this show tonight, 5 minutes before I started the show tonight, there was a bailiff knocked on the door. Now, I live in a block of flats, and in order to get into the flats, you've got to go through gates outside with electronic. You've got to push the numbers of the flats, someone's got to buzz you in. So how these bailiffs, I mean, a guy from the council's got in, and the guy from this bailiff company, Jacobs, has got in. How they get in without being buzzed in, I don't know. I would like to question whoever is in charge of the security for these flats as to how the bailiffs can get through without buzzing the flats. In fact, I'm pretty sure it should be compulsory for bailiffs just as much as anybody else to have to buzz the flats. Well, anyway, he was looking for somebody else, a guy who used to live here. I told him that he didn't live here. He asked me for identification to prove that I wasn't him. I told him to sling his up. I basically said that I'm afraid that's private and confidential information. I'm not prepared to give any of that kind of information over the door at this time. He said, right, okay. So I said, I'd also like to give you notification now that I'm withdrawing your right of access. Any knock on this door in future from anybody from your company will result in a claim being taken to small claims court for the sum of £4,990. I am going to print up the notice, actually, that you can find on getoutofdebtfree.org under the bailiff section, a notice that sticks on the door officially notifying the bailiffs of withdrawing of the right of entry. But it's strange, I think that bailiff knocking on the door, again, that is a small action of the law of attraction at work. because I don't want bailiffs knocking on my door. I don't want anybody knocking on my door except my friends and family and people who I'm expecting to knock on the door. But I sort of have always had, I've had very recently this just the feeling deep down in my bones that that's what's going to happen. You know, bailiffs are going to knock on my door. So, and that's just the way it is when we follow the path of the free man. Hello, future solution. I am certainly well. I hope everybody else is well also. Also, hello to Deb. I think I've said hello to before. Anybody else? To the other anonymouses who are now in the room. I have people coming in and dropping out. I know I'm not the most riveting show on Critical Mass Radio, but I do try. So yeah, I hope you liked feedback on the remixes. Very welcome. If you enjoyed them, please let me know. If you didn't enjoy them, please let me know. Any way you think could be improved, please let me know. I've got a couple more coming up for you, so don't you worry about that. Funnily enough, talking about another law of attraction, the water in our flats have been off since Friday night, Saturday morning. They literally only come back on again an hour ago. So this block of flats is full of smelly people who've not had flowing water. It's been interesting actually because it's sort of, we've not been able to flush the toilets, we've not been able to really wash dishes. They've been giving us 4 litres of water a day since it went off. Not really enough to wash yourself with. Probably just about enough to wash dishes with, but I've been keeping it aside for making cups of tea. The water's on now, thankfully, so after the show I'm going to have a blitz clean where I wash the dishes and clean the kitchen and have a nice hot bath. But yeah, it does make me appreciate what it is to have running water, what it means to not have to walk miles for clean water, to be able to sit in a bath full of hot water, which, let's face it, the average bath is a lot of litres of water. Pushing for, imagine what, 80 litres of water, 70 litres of water. A lot of water, anyway. So I don't know anybody who's got Google up and running, or WikiLeaks. What is the average volume for a bath in the UK? There's a bit of trivia you can find out whilst I play the next clip from Tuning In Spirit Channels in America. This one's entitled God. And that was On God from Tuning In Spirit Channels in America. I hope you managed to get something from that. Hello, Rob. Welcome to the radio show. Yeah, so it's a funny one, God. It is a funny one. As I've said on previous shows, I've always had a deep mind. I've always had a mind that sort of asks questions that were probably way above my pay grade. Way above my pay grade. And one of the things, I think I mentioned it in a previous show, that I really struggled with was time, concept of the infinite. I remember once I was seeing a counsellor. She was actually a drugs counsellor, even though I didn't have a drug addiction at all. I just said I did in order to be able to speak with her, because a friend of mine who was suffering from heroin addiction went to see her on a weekly basis, and she said she was really good. So I arranged to talk to her, so I had to say I was addicted to cannabis. So I was able to see her officially on the books, and really, really good chats with her about it. And it's after I had a bad mushroom trip, and I was confronted with death and the infinite. Death was never really a fear for me. It was once, not so much death, but the fear of annihilation. It is good that I ask questions. I'm going to be telling my son to always ask questions. the fear of annihilation, which is pretty much what the fear of death is when you think about it. Fear of going from having a meaningful, tangible, visceral existence to blackness, non-existence, winking out, as though you'd never been before. And that can be, and understandably, that can be a very terrifying thought to people. But then once you get over that, you're then confronted by the next war, so to speak, the next obstacle, which is, if there is no annihilation, then the only alternative, initially, to the mind is eternity, that you will exist forever, and ever, and ever, and ever, without ever stopping, ever. You'll just carry on, and on, and on, to infinity. And let me tell you, when you dwell on that, that is almost, if not more terrifying than annihilation, than death. In fact, my counsellor actually said to me, Miquel, I have never met anybody who's so afraid to live forever. It's true. The concept of it is staggering, because eventually, if you live on forever and ever for eternity, you will eventually know everything. You will eventually have done everything, have said everything, have heard everything, have experienced everything, have felt everything. And then what? You do it all over again? And then when you've done it over again, you do it over again? And when you've done all that over again, you do it over again? After a while, annihilation almost seems like bliss. It almost seems comfortable. It's strange. It almost seems like a restful night's sleep. I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to exist anymore. I just want to turn it off. Turn it all off. I want it to be pitch black. Make it like I never existed before. Alan Watts, a famous philosopher, an intellectual, often said, he said that we forget. That is nature's way of helping us through that. When we die, we're born again, we forget. And it's that forgetting that allows us to go through it again. Because if we did remember it, we would be faced with that conundrum. To an extent, it's true. I believe that statement's true, but on a smaller scale. But on a larger scale, that statement is only true if you concede that time is of linearity. It's a linear thing. It has an A going to a B in a straight line, no deviation. And it stretches out infinitely in both directions, which is not true. Time does not have that structure. In fact, there's not really such a thing as time as we understand it, because time is simply what we perceive because we're moving so slowly. Quantum physicists will tell you that photons go from position A to position B instantaneously, and there's no time, inverted commas, in between. But we perceive that light as going from A to B over a stretched amount of time, inverted commas, because we are moving so slowly. Our perception is so slow. I've also heard someone say that time is there to stop everything from happening all at once. And in relation to that clip I just played, God, I remember having a trip on mushrooms once, and it was the second time this had happened. I became the Godhead, so to speak. I knew everything, I'd done everything. I was in that position of understanding absolutely everything, and fundamentally understanding that everything in existence was me, only me, and there was no other. Now on the surface it sounds beautiful, but when you actually truly experience that, you're confronted with that, it's so lonely. It's infinitely lonely. Because you realize that everything around you is something you've contrived to keep yourself sane and entertained. And this is one of many forms that you've taken in order to interact with yourself in other forms so that you can have experience. And it's almost sad. It is sad to a degree. But then the ingredient, you see, this is the key. The ingredient that stops it from being sad is love. The infinite love. It's the connection to love that spawns inspiration, desire for life, experience. Because God as a consciousness could just have existed as a consciousness forever and ever and ever and ever. A sort of black limbo where he existed, wasn't born, and would never die, knew everything, was everything, and could be on forever and ever and ever. But it's not very experientially rich, is it? So, God created mountains, planets, galaxies, life, created all the machinations of all the dimensions on almost infinite levels. So, and in all of that, he gave his love. He gave his love. Essentially, God shattered himself into infinite amount of pieces. And he did it through love, infusing love into it all, so that we could all experience life, experiences with a sense of purpose, of meaning, of gratitude. And this reasoning also leads you to understand an important principle, which is part of which is the central core of the third and final clip of the remixes I'm going to play you tonight. The idea and the understanding that there are no victims. Now, this is something I've addressed before on previous shows, to some controversy, I may add. It's hard for a lot of people to understand, to stand under the idea or the notion that there are no victims, that we're all just willing participants. You know, the voices would cry out, "Oh, well, you know, children in Africa don't choose to starve. You know, people don't choose to be murdered. You know, innocent men and women don't choose to have bombs dropped on them." But maybe not on a physical, three-dimensional level as we experience it, they don't. But on a fundamental level of energetic level, we really do. So without further ado, no victims. There are no victims. There are only willing participants. You are free to choose. And you will choose freely. Quite often, people don't even realize they're choosing. When they say, this happened to me. It happened to me. You know, this always happens to me. It just, you know, I'm always losing this. I'm always getting hurt in this way. People are always leaving me like this. That's a choice. You just made it. You just stated to the universe and to the reality that you experience, that this is the way you wish it to be. Because if you didn't wish it to be that way, why would you say it? Why would you say it? You're acknowledging your own decision. It's a difficult one. I understand that. Because we do live in a time-space reality. We experience time in a linear fashion. We because we live in a universe of free will, free choice, some people can choose to harm other people. But that moment of harm, the moment when somebody else chooses to harm someone else, that someone else has arrived at that point, to the point where they can be harmed by that person of their own free will and choice. You know, if they hadn't made the decisions, felt the feelings, thought the thoughts that they had in sequence up to that moment when they're about to be hurt by somebody, they wouldn't have been there to be hurt by somebody. It was the entire sequence of choices that they made that brought them to that moment, that put them in a position where they could be harmed by another human being who is exercising his free will and free choice to harm another human being. You see, it's not so much that the person being harmed is a victim. They are a willing participant. That's not to say that they deserve the harm, but at the same time, for that person to deny their input to that situation, to deny their responsibility, to deny the experiences, the thoughts, the actions that brought them to the point, that moment in time and space where they could be harmed by another human being, is irresponsible and is ultimately self-defeating and is disempowering. Because if that person who's been harmed by another human being believes themselves to be a victim, then they're essentially saying that they had no control, they had no power over it, they had no decision and no free will. And if you can have no control, no power, no decision or free will in one moment, you've essentially condemned yourself to have that situation of no power, no control, no free will any and many other times from that moment on, if not always. There are some people out there who live in a permanent victim state, with a permanent victim mentality. Essentially, they live in a permanent state of belief that everything that is happening to them is not of their devising, is out of their control, and they cannot possibly gain control. Or that the only time they can gain control is if they acquire something, or learn something, or do something. Which is not true. All they have to do is acknowledge their own power, acknowledge their own role, the role in which they have chosen to play in this life. Acknowledge the power of their free will and exercise that power and make the decision that you are a sovereign, self-sustaining human being. And you will make mistakes, but you will also have many successes. That you can be in control, you are powerful, and that when you get harmed or when you make a mistake, you will learn from it, which will mean it was no longer a mistake. It was just a learning curve. That's empowerment. You know, that is empowerment. The bailiff that knocked on my door 5 years ago, I would have opened that door, would have told him everything he wanted to know. I would have been sweating like a pig in a bacon factory, and I would have given him all the information he needs to know. I would have probably begged him to not take my things. And when all's said and done, I don't care about my things anymore. I feel empowered. I feel like I can say no to these people now, and I feel like I can stop these people now. That I can say to them, you have no right to do what you're doing, and you certainly have no right to do what you're doing to me, and I do not consent to what you are doing to me. But failing all that, if I stick to what I know is right and what I believe is right, failing it all, they still manage to get into my house, my dwelling. It's not a house, certainly not a home, the dwelling, and take my things take my PC. It's about the only thing that's worth anything. The printer, the microwave. I don't even have a microwave. Whatever they take, I will take responsibility for the reality I've created. And I won't wallow in self-pity. I will learn from it and attempt to take strength from it. I suppose I'd like to make a confession on the show tonight. Vicky, my beautiful wife, is she's struggling with the baby at the moment. She's struggling with her emotions and her hormones, and she's questioning a lot of things. One of which is whether she should be with me. It's not that she doesn't love me. She doesn't question that at all. She's just questioning about whether it's right that we are together, or whether that's beneficial. Which I'm understanding of, and I just said, you need time to make that decision, and make the decision however you see fit, and I will live with it. And she has told me that it seems to her that it's like I don't care or I don't mind if she were to leave me. But that's not true. Of course I would mind. I married her, so of course I would mind if she wasn't here in my life, because I married her because I wanted her to be in my life. However, if leaving me would make her happy, would fulfill her, create happiness in her life, make her happier, it's genuinely what she needed, her spirit and soul needed, in order to find peace and happiness and contentment. Regardless of how I feel, who am I? Who would I be to stop that? I would be selfish to allow my desires and wants and love to step in the way of that. That's not because I'm emotionless. It's simply because, it's actually because I love her. Sometimes when we love someone, we have to understand that in order to fully show and express that love, we have to do some things that we don't like. We have to allow people to do things that we don't approve of, or that we don't think is good, but it doesn't matter. So if we love somebody, we will allow them to do it and to be it. It's as simple as that. You can't say to somebody, I love you, but don't ever leave me. You have promised to not ever leave me, because if you leave me, I won't love you anymore. Or you can't say, I love you, but you must stop doing this and you must stop doing that. Because if you don't stop doing this and you don't stop doing that, I won't love you anymore. Because if you do that, then you've created condition. You've put conditions on that love. And love is unconditional. Unconditional. It's and that is an immutable fact. The moment you place conditions on love, it's no longer love. It's something else, whatever you want to call it. I've been through a lot of heartbreaks in my life. I've been through a lot of things in my life. And one of the things it's taught me, above all, it's not to wallow. It's to get over it, really. To get over it. To learn from it. To assess it. It's not to say you can be completely void of mourning. You will mourn the loss of the death. You will mourn the loss of a relationship. That's essentially what people do when people are in a relationship and they break up. It's the mourning that they go through. It's like mourning a death. Thank you, Phil, for your words. It's not an unusual thing. My firstborn son, funnily enough, a month after he was born, his mother turned around to me and said, I don't think I love you anymore. So I've been through it before. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw myself off the balcony or anything. But that's life, you know. There's ups and there's downs. And if we treat the downs with as much reverence and respect as we do the ups, if we endeavour not to take for granted the downs as much as the ups, and we learn to understand fundamentally that we are immortal beings, we are self-sovereign, self-sustaining, immortal beings of light, taking temporary form in a time-space vessel that is three-dimensional construction for a limited period of inverted commas time to experience things so that our souls, that essence that we are, can learn and take that lesson through into the infinite, to the higher levels in which we live and exist when we're not in this form. And that knowledge, that acceptance, believe me, that pretty much can help you deal with absolutely anything. Buddha, the first Satyagidharma, when he went out into the world and began his learning to try and find a way to end suffering, the first master he studied under gave him a ring, and on that ring was written, "This too shall pass." And the master said to him, whenever you experience anything, pain, suffering, happiness, joy, contentment, anything, you will look down at the ring. And he did. And it teaches a very valuable lesson. But whatever it is you're going through now, be it good, be it bad, be it everything in between, this too shall pass. Undoubtedly, this too shall pass. The New World Order shall pass. The wars raging around the world will pass. The machine, the mechanical-like society we exist in will pass. Everything will pass. Speaking of the New World Order, I'd just like to make a quick point that I think we should stop saying New World Order. I think that's a very crafty way in which they've got us to immobilize ourselves within these various movements. I know Paul Rippon particularly is into his word spell magic. Well, New World Order. We don't want the New World Order. Down with the New World Order. So I ask the question: if we don't want the New World, if we don't want the New World Order, what do we want? Do we want the Old World Order? Well, I've read the history books, and I know what's happening now. That seems to me, do we want that? The Old World Order? I don't think so. I certainly don't want the Old World Order. I've read the history books. It's not that good. It's not that peachy. But I think this term New World Order has become synonymous, not by accident, I feel, synonymous with the powers that were, the bankers and the elitists and that. So everybody's running around saying, down with the New World Order, we don't want the New World Order. Well, that essentially what you're saying then is you want everything to remain the same. Or you want to go back to an old way of doing things, which wasn't that great. So you've just cut yourself off from moving forward into something new. And I think we need to differentiate here very carefully between the New World Order and a New World Order. Because I think very much that we do very much need a New World Order. Very much so. We just don't need the New World Order that involves bankers and elitists. So I think we should be very careful about when and where and how we use, with what inflection we use the term New World Order. I think it could bring us up a cropper if we're not careful. So anyway, just to remind you, you have been listening to...
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Alrighty then. You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. This is Peace of Mind. Me, your host, Miquel
omnipresent supergalactic oneness.
Indeed, I am Miquel Llobera, also known as Fettle Feign, and I have yet to attain super omnipresent intergalactic oneness. But I'm close, folks. I'm close. I'm getting there, day by day, step by step. And you can too. In fact, you are too as well. Remember, you exist forever. You're infinite beings, so you will get there as well. It's not just me. So yeah, we have. I'm presuming I'm going on till 5 minutes to, again, as usual. If not, then I have 5 minutes left. If it's so, then I have 15 minutes left. Either way, we are coming towards the end of the show. So I should say, please stay tuned. For we have up next the Critical Mass Show, hosted by our very one and only, the patron saint of Critical Mass Radio, Paul Giovanni, our Italian-blooded producer. So I'm sure he's got lots of wonderful stuff on the show coming up for us. And I believe, unless 15 minutes left, I've just been informed. There we go. The eye from the sky, the word from above, has told me I have 15 minutes left. Groovy. And I believe after the Critical Mass Show, I've not been told otherwise, we still have the Totnes Hemp Show with Chris. Always a favourite one of mine. Always a particular topic I certainly enjoy and certainly partake of in many ways in one. So, okay, right, well, I'll bang on a tune then, and have a bit more chit-chat before we finish. So, what should we have? Bit of Let It Be. Indeed, this is the place to be. And a lot of exciting things happening at the moment, so I'm told. A lot of innovation moving forward, things happening. Which I'm glad to hear about. As I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a little disconnected from the world at the moment. Don't really watch the news anymore. Don't really keep an eye on things that are going on outside the world because, to be honest, I can't be bothered with the doom and gloom, and I don't really want to contribute to it by giving it my energy and my attention, really, which is one and the same thing. Hello, Wendy. I shall forgive your tardiness. This one time. How are you doing? Only kidding. Yeah, so I know a lot of things have been going on here at the show, at the station, and other things as well. Listening to Revolution Radio over on the States side. A lot of interesting things going on over there. But, you know, it's at the moment I'm thinking I'm just... you know, I think we need to just be with us, be with ourselves, focus on the immediate area around us, the immediate contact group around us, and what we can do in order to, you know, move forward. I think we need to stop fear-mongering, and this fear-mongering needs to stop. There's nothing wrong with awareness bad things going on, but fear-mongering needs to stop, Because let's face it, I think now it's safe to say that the vast majority of people know that something is wrong and is not right. Pretty sure most people know, even if they don't know the specific ins and outs, the Rothschild, the Morgans, all the names of the families and all the history and all that, people know there's something wrong. And I think when we get up in their face and we tell them, we're just confirming what they already know deep down inside, and we're sort of validating that fear, and fear is what allows them to be easily manipulated in the first place. I think what we need to be doing really is showing people how we can move forward with positive things, that there are things we can do that are positive, that are productive, and show them that those things are going on and those things are being done, and that they can do it too and participate, and there's no need to be in fear anymore, there's no need to be afraid of it all, you know. And hopefully we can, you know, unite, and in a very practical and meaningful way we can begin the descension to meet Mother Earth and to compress all our chakra points down into us. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, in the last couple of minutes I have left, nothing more to say really, other than thank you all very kindly for your time, for your attention. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've taken something from it. As I said at the beginning, you can email me on peaceofmind@criticalmassradio.co.uk. Feel free to contact me through Skype, Fettle Feign, all one word, lowercase letters. Just put a little message that you're contacting me through CMR. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all very much. Hope you have a good night. Hope you enjoy listening to the rest of the shows that are on this evening. And from me, Miquel Llobera, also known as Fettle Feign, safe journey.